everyone and welcome back to my channel. I feel as though this video has been a long time coming. I can't believe we still haven't done it at this point, and it's getting so close to the parks reopening. Today we are going to be making the ice cream Mickey bar that they sell in the parks, but we're going to be making it to a vegan and gluten-free recipe so that many more people can access it. This is a really easy recipe. You really don't need that many ingredients at all. I will quickly just go through with you what you need. 2 cans of coconut milk. You could also use double cream or heavy whipping cream if you're not bothered about it being vegan. Half a cup of sugar. You can also swap some of that out for either agave nectar, honey or syrup or something like that, but I'm just going to be mostly sticking with the sugar for today. You'll need sea salt and you'll also need vanilla extract. Now, if you can get hold of vanilla bean or vanilla pods, I would definitely make use of that as it will give it that more authentic vanilla ice cream taste. But since we couldn't get hold of it, we're just going to stick with the vanilla extract for today and hope that it tastes almost, if not just as good. You will also be needing chocolate of your choice to coat the ice creams once they are in Mickey formation, which we'll obviously get to much later in the video. And you will need on top of that a blender to blend your ingredients together and an ice cream maker. Now, if you don't have an ice cream maker, you can still do this recipe, and I will go over in a little while how you can do it without using one. So the first thing you're going to be doing is just adding all your ingredients into a blender and blending it all together until it's completely combined and smooth. Now, since all of my coconut milk didn't fit into the blender because it's only quite a small blender, I'm just going to add it into a bowl and mix it all together to make sure that it's all combined. Once everything is all mixed together, you then basically just want to shove it in your ice cream maker for around 45 minutes until it kind of resembles an ice creamy texture. Now, if you want to make it without an ice cream maker, you can do the double Ziploc bag trick. I'm sure most people have heard this before, but basically you get a really big Ziploc bag and fill it with ice and salt. And then you get a smaller one, put your ice cream mixture inside, make sure it's completely sealed. Seal both bags and you just shake it up for maybe like 20 minutes or so until it becomes ice creamy, and then the next step will be the same as the next step I'm about to show you after the ice cream is churned in the ice cream maker. The ice cream maker has now been going for about an hour, and I'm just going to take it out and put it in a tin with some cling film in it and put it in the freezer for about an hour or so and just see how it goes. So it's not completely set yet. It still kind of looks like rice pudding to me, but we're going to pour it out and see how it goes. I've completely dismantled the ice cream maker now. I have the ice cream just here. Obviously it's not really that much ice creamy yet, but it will get there. I'm going to line a baking tin like this with some cling film and put it all in and put it in the freezer for a little while. I will kind of update you of how long it's been in when it happens because I'm not quite sure yet. And then once it's completely done, it will be easy for me to lift the cling film out of the tin, and then we can start cutting our shapes out. As you may have seen there, the very bottom bits in the ice cream maker were more frozen and ice creamy. I think I kind of made a mistake of putting too much into the chamber. I didn't use a recipe from the ice cream maker, I just found one online. So depending on how big your ice cream maker is, you might want to use a little bit less. It's definitely a lot thicker than it was at the beginning. So I'm now going to put this in the freezer for about an hour and just kind of see where we're at with it at the end of an hour. Now, whilst that is freezing in the freezer, I am going to try and make the mold for the Mickey head. Now, I haven't tried this before, so I don't know how well it's going to go, but I thought this could definitely benefit other people because I'm sure not everybody has a Mickey Mouse head mold just at the ready. So we're going to try and make one out of tin foil and sellotape. So I'm just going to grab some kitchen foil. And I've gone for a piece around this big, and I'm just going to concertina it so it kind of ends up being that thick, just like a regular cookie cutter. This is currently what we're working with, but it still does feel quite flimsy, so I'm actually just going to add another piece on and wrap it around. I did say I was going to concertina it, but I thought that might kind of unravel, so I've just ended up folding it over on top of each other until it makes this kind of shape. But I am just going to add a little bit extra. Something else to bear in mind is you could actually do it with a long strip and fold it over this way, because obviously this is all we're working with, so it's not going to be very big. I might have to use multiple pieces, but I will kind of update you guys as I go. I actually just found these Russian doll measuring cups that we have that I used earlier for measuring. I just remember we have these Russian doll measuring cups that I used for the sugar earlier. So I took the biggest one and the smallest one. I'm kind of going to use them to estimate the size of the head and the ears. I'm just going to wrap the tin foil around this and kind of see what happens. And now I'm just taping it together so that it doesn't lose its shape. So far we just have a circle. I probably could have just got one of those out the cupboard. But now to add on the ears, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that, but let's have a go. No, it actually looks like this is too big. I might just have to freehand the other part to make kind of the size of ear that I would like. I'm literally the least crafty person ever, so I feel like most people could probably do a lot better job at this than I am. Honestly, I'm quite impressed with that. Obviously, it is far from perfect. But I mean, yeah. If I had any kind of arty skills, could have been quite good. So I'm just gonna stick with this. Obviously I know there are still these bits, but I daren't cut them out in case it ruins it. So I'm just gonna kind of press it on when it's done, press it on like this, and kind of the outline, I can then use a knife to kind of score around it, and it will make my life a lot easier than doing it completely freehand. So as I say, I know this is quite dodgy, but it's my first attempt and I would say it's pretty cute. The ice cream has now been in the freezer for a couple of hours and I've taken it out so I can cut it into our Mickey shapes. I will then put it back in the freezer to make sure that it completely sets in the right shape. So I'm gonna try and lift it out. It isn't super hard, but it's definitely hard enough. I did stir it within these couple of hours. I did stir it a couple of times so that it wouldn't set as like a block of ice. So let's just see if we can get it out. Ooh. That seems pretty good. I think this should be enough for at least 2. So I'm just gonna place our mold right on top of the ice cream and kind of just trace around it. It's already melting quite fast, so with this step you definitely need to be quite speedy with it. I'm just gonna pop this one in the freezer. I'll bring it back out in a minute to show you guys, but just so it doesn't melt. I'm now just gonna quickly cut another one out. This is really only enough for 2, but it obviously just completely depends on what kind of height you have and how much you use and stuff like that. But 2 is plenty, as there's only 2 of us here. Definitely speed is gonna help you a lot here, because as soon as it starts to melt, it's gonna be a lot harder. There's a lot of spare ice cream, so that's gonna be fun. Once you've cut your ice creams out, make sure you get them back in the freezer as quick as possible, because mine had literally melted a lot in the time that it took me, and it wasn't even that long. So this is what I'm left with, which is just like a mess. I'm gonna put that back in the tin in some more cling film and just have it as normal ice cream. I would probably say leave that in for at least 20 minutes or so, and then we'll get on to the next step. Whilst your ice cream is back in the freezer refreezing just to make sure it holds its shape, you then want to start melting some of your chocolate. I'll be using this moo-free egg that I had from Easter, which is 120 grams. We do have more chocolate though, just in case we run out, but I think this should be plenty. And I'm gonna use a bain-marie, but you could also just put it in the microwave. Make sure you stir it every 30 seconds. When you do a bain-marie, you have to make sure that the hot water in the pan doesn't touch the bottom of the bowl. Don't ask me why, I'm not a chef, I just know that. So you just fill up your pan with boiling water, add a glass bowl with chocolate on top, and just kind of leave it. You want to stir it every couple of minutes. Another thing that you can do at this point, you can add lolly sticks into the bottom of your ice cream so that when they're done, they will be kind of like a lolly. It seems weird I'm in the garage, but we have like a giant freezer in the garage, that's where they are. When your chocolate is completely melted, make sure to take it off the hob so that it can cool down, because obviously we don't want to pour boiling hot chocolate onto our ice cream, but also we don't want to let it set. So I would say you need to just basically keep mixing it for the next maybe 5 or 10 minutes every 30 seconds or so to make sure that it cools down but also it doesn't set. And then after that we'll be bringing back out the ice cream and drenching them in the chocolate, and we're almost done. I've now brought our ice creams back out of the freezer, and this is going to have to be a quick operation to get them covered in chocolate and back into the freezer so that they don't melt. I've just finished coating the ice creams with the chocolate, but honestly this is definitely the most stressful part, because every time you put chocolate on it automatically solidifies, but then as time goes on the ice cream starts to melt, and it's kind of an endless process of melting ice cream and hardening chocolate. So I've put them back in the freezer for maybe 5 minutes just for them to set back up again. And my issue right this second is that only one side of the ice cream actually has chocolate on at this point, so I'm not sure whether I'm going to carry on, melt up more chocolate and put it on, or whether I'm just gonna leave it on one side, because honestly I think that will still be really good. I'll let you guys know anyway. So this is our kind of finished result. I am aware they're far from perfect, but honestly I'm quite happy with how they've turned out for a first attempt. So hopefully this has helped you guys to at least get an idea of what you could do if you would like to make these a vegan version. You could definitely change some of the different things up that you may have seen that I did wrong. Hopefully I'll try these again in the future, and I will post them on my Instagram if I do any more successful attempts. So make sure to go and follow my Instagram. I'll put it up on screen now so you can see it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for future videos all about Disney every Thursday at 7 PM UK time. Give this video a massive thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Bye!